Welcome, Bud Martin, Executive Director of the Delaware Theater Company.
Hi, Sharon.
Unfortunately, the ghost light remains on, and as I read this morning in a statement from the Broadway League, all productions have been canceled through January of 2021. And I assume the same is true for our Delaware Theater Company.
That is unfortunately true. And I am a member of the Broadway League and participate in regular calls and so forth. And I think, you know, what the league surveyed multi-ticket buyers in New York City about when they'd be comfortable going back to the theater. And they said their biggest concern was the fact that other people wouldn't respect social distancing. And you know, when we talk to our patrons about coming back, that's also a major concern about theirs, is gathering inside until there's a vaccine. Especially because the demographic for, you know, coming to see professional regional theater is, I mean, the majority of people are over the age of 55, if not over the age of 70. And it's not terribly dissimilar from the demographic for Broadway shows. The challenge with getting back and social distancing is there's no way you can social distance in a Broadway theater and survive. I mean, we have 389 seats in our theater, and we've mapped it out based on our subscribers and couples that we know, people that we know come as couples. And we could fit 104 people in the theater if we socially distance.
Yeah, but how can you cover your costs doing that?
Well, we can't. That's why it's like not possible to open that way unless it's a one-person show with minimal production, you know, expenses, and which I'm looking at. I mean, I've talked to a couple of people that I think would help sell tickets and that have one-person plays. Their biggest concern is just how are you going to handle the backstage and socially distancing? How far away is the audience going to be? Plus, one of these women, well, both of them are West Coast based. They'd have to fly, and their concern is, again, getting on a plane. So it's a challenge. And, you know, there's no Broadway theater that can, I mean, no Broadway theater can survive on less than 65% capacity.
Sure.
I mean,
well, Bud, let me, I wanted to be a little more philosophical with you today, because I know you and I share a spiritual connection about the theater. And I wanted to offer this that the Broadway League put out. The Broadway experience can be deeply personal. The alchemy of 1,000 strangers bonding into a single audience, fueling each performer on stage and behind the scenes, will be possible again, so that we can get back to work sharing stories that inspire our audience through the transformative power of this shared experience. There is nothing like the live theater.
that's for
And
sure.
aside from all of the economic considerations, I believe we are somewhat starving because we can't have this experience right now.
You know, I heard an interview on PBS the other day, or WHYY, interviewing the artistic director of the Pennsylvania Ballet about what their plans were and how they were going to, you know, what, if anything, they could do even online or so forth. And he said that the thing that they're going to miss the most is that it's been proven that people that are sitting watching a performance in an audience, their heart rates become synchronized. And it's just another example of how we all become one when we're gathered like that, engaged in the experience that we're sharing with the people on stage. And I thought that was just so great of an example that about just what kind of community happens when people go see a live performance. You know, I know what it does to actors on nights that they're getting strong feelings and response from an audience versus a night where they might not be getting that feeling from an audience, and just how the energy circulates between what the actors get from the audience and what the audience gets from the actors. Um,
It's no baloney when you think about sitting in a dark house, you know, then everybody forgets about race and age and income, and you are totally focused on this experience. I mean, I'll say it. I've walked around for a week after going to a play that got to me, that impacted me, caused me to reflect on my own life, my own thinking. So we need to find a way to maybe, have this therapeutic experience while we're all quarantined.
for sure. I have to tell you one quick story. I mean, we talk about the importance of live theater and parents taking kids to the theater because it helps develop empathy and versus seeing each other online and digitally. And I've sort of resisted doing a lot of digital content because I've been such a strong proponent of the
Sure.
importance of that live connection. But when we did the musical Honk a year ago, it's based on the Ugly Duckling story. And a woman sent me an email that she had seen the show with her 8-year-old son. And she looked at him and at one point, and he had tears in his eyes. And she said, "Honey, what's wrong?" And he said, "Mommy, sometimes I feel like the ugly duckling."
Yeah.
And I thought, that's not going to happen watching a screen. I mean, yes, you may get emotionally engaged in the story, but not like you are seeing it live. And when the character of Ugly is singing different, that's meaningful to people.
Sure it is. Sure. It's more like being, well, when children used to get, when I guess many people still do, but absorbed in reading, and you're imagining what these characters look like and their feelings, and it's such a private kind of one-on-one experience. The theater amps that up, of course, when you have that stimulus of the actors and the production value, but it's good for the soul, it's good for the mind.
Absolutely.
Can you share with our Delaware audience what you might do? For example, the Grand has done these concerts by car. What's the Delaware Theater Company doing?
And Mark Fields and I have talked about us doing one of those concerts by car. What we've done so far is we did one cabaret concert with a piano player and a singer, which was open, which was free to our subscribers. We performed on the front steps of the theater, and we marked out boxes where people could bring a picnic lunch or dinner and a bottle of wine. And we required that they have a mask to come into the parking area. And once they were in their spots, they could take it off. And it worked well. We made it free to subscribers, but we put out a tip jar, so to speak, and got more money than if we had just charged. We're doing several of those, and we're going to try doing it on the steps of the theater because, for the most part, they're actors that our audiences are familiar with, that have cabaret shows, and it's more intimate that way. If we had a band, I would say we would probably take advantage of doing it in the parking lot outside Frawley Stadium. But we've opened the restrooms before and after the event. People go in one at a time into the lobby. They have to be masked. We have it taped out this way in, this way out. So we're going to continue to do them. Our next one will be on the 5th of August, and then we have something scheduled every week until after Labor Day. So we are going to try to do that to stay as relevant as we can, and I'm trying to find some stuff that would make sense for us to do digitally. People have asked about showing archival videos. Like you said, can you sit in front of a screen for 2 hours, especially if it's a one camera shoot? And unless you shot it for us, like Ain't Misbehaving or Because of When it's a one camera shoot. And are you going to be able to do that? Plus we have it's expensive to show those because we have to pay the actors.
Sure.
2 weeks salary. So I'm looking at some one-person things that we might be able to do and try to come up with, we're going to look at trying to do some readings digitally, because then we don't need to file a safety plan to get Actors Equity to agree to that.
What's the buzz on, the people in, I'll say, our industry, the performing arts industry. I guess they're considered gig employees. Um, Gosh, how are they faring? There are so many actors and singers and musicians that just have to be stranded right now.
They are, and particularly those in New York who, where everything is shut down. I was talking to one person who's done a couple of shows with us who recently moved to New York, and she said that at least the television is trying to start back up where they can socially distance in the city. But, to look at the fact that we're probably a year away from having a Broadway show, and we started because of Winn-Dixie about 5 years ago, and
Loved it, Bud. Loved it.
oh, thank you. And we did it up at Goodspeed Musicals in Connecticut this summer, and invited all the Broadway landlords up to see it. And it's highly likely that we will. We're on the short list with a couple of landlords for a theater, and with all the shows that aren't going to be able to reopen after they close, it's highly likely we'll get offered a theater. And my fear is, do we want to be the first one back? Yeah. But it's terrible. With right now, with the additional payment that's been put on top of the unemployment piece, actors have been getting probably what they would have made if they were in a show, but that all runs out next week, and it doesn't look like that's going to be replaced right away. But no, they are stranded, and I'm getting calls and emails from people that are actually trying to put together little cabarets where, since they've seen that we've already done one outside, would I hire them to do it, and they'll do whatever they can to work, whether it's do Zoom exercise classes or Zoom voice lessons or Zoom acting classes, just something to stay active and to try to generate some income.
Well, these are very short interviews, but I just want to leave our viewers again with the thought that the transformative power of the theater is so much more than entertainment. Maybe entertainment is the least of it. Not that it's not important, but that transformative quality, the spiritual quality of the theater, is something that we need so desperately in our world today. We've got to find a way to get back to it, maybe redesigned during this period, but we got to get down to it.
We do. You've said it very, very well, Sharon. We really do.
Well, Bud, thank you so much for the time. And as soon as you get your shows lined up, may we talk again?
Absolutely.
All right.
Knowing that we may never be certain of what shows and when, but yes, happy to do it. And thanks so much for doing this.
Oh my gosh. Bud Martin, Executive Director of the Delaware Theater Company. What a treasure for Delaware and beyond. Thank you, Bud.
For me.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Sharon. Bye-bye.